Welcome into From the Bleachers, the podcast with the Fan Sports Network. Caden Formaster here, and alongside me, Nate Nelson today. Nate, let's talk some basketball.
All right,
let's talk some NBA.
NBA regular season wrapping up soon.
Wrapping up.
April 14th is the last day, and then the play-in, and then the playoffs.
That's right. We have 3 or 4 games, kind of depending on the schedule of different teams, whether they're playing 3 or 4 games. So let's take a look at both of the conferences, see where some of these teams could end up, kind of predict where they might end up when it comes to the start of the season, since we only have a few games left.
Yep.
But we have some areas where there
It's
can be
so
some
close
movement.
in both conferences right now.
Yeah.
So close, especially over in the West.
Absolutely. There can definitely be some movement. What we do know is in the East, the top 10 are for sure locked into the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So Nets, Raptors, Hornets, Wizards, Pistons, they're for sure out.
Mm-hmm.
The West is not necessarily that case. Right now, in terms of can it still happen? Yes, the Rockets could still move up into a 10th spot.
I thought they were eliminated recently.
Maybe they. Well. Yes. So, okay, wait. So they are eliminated. You were correct.
Okay.
They are eliminated. So the top 10 is locked in.
In for the West.
The top 10 could actually shift around enough to where the Warriors who are in 10th could still jump all the way into 6th.
Wow.
There is nobody locked in for a play-in game is what I'm looking at here. So, so forgive me on that. Nobody's
locked
in.
East, Bulls, Hawks locked in for the play-in right now.
Yes. So you have Bulls and Hawks locked in. In the West, not a single team is locked in as a play-in team, and that even includes the Warriors, who are sitting in 10th. They are at 43 and 35.
All these teams are in. We just don't know their seedings quite yet.
Yes. And the Suns are in 6th at 46 and 32. So, I mean, it's mathematically possible for the Warriors to end up in 6th place. So the West will be interesting. Let's start with the East, though, and see where things end up. The Celtics are locked in at the number 1 spot.
They got it locked down.
Easy.
I think they're going to come out of the East, but we'll get to that later. Then we got the Bucks at the 2 seed, correct? Magic, Knicks, and then it goes Cavaliers,
Pacers.
Pacers, not the Pistons.
Yeah, not the Pistons. 76ers.
Sixers, Heat, Bulls, Hawks.
Correct. That's how it currently sits. So, what would you change here? Celtics are staying there. We know that for a fact. In my opinion, the Bucks are staying at number 2.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
The Magic and Bucks have 2 huge games coming up against each other. One, I think, tomorrow, and then one on the final game of the season. And I think they're going to split those. And even though the Bucks, they've lost 4 straight times, including 3 of those losses to the Raptors, Grizzlies, and the Wizards.
Not good teams.
Not good teams at all. I think, though, they're going to pull one out against the Magic, and I think they are going to keep that 2nd seed. But the Magic are going to stay at the 3rd seed because they got the tiebreaker over the Knicks.
They do.
So I think that top 3, top 4 is going to stay the same.
So Magic right now are tied with the Knicks. 46-32 is the record. As we talked about the Bucks are 3-7 in their last 10, which is not great.
4-game losing streak, I believe. Yeah.
4-game losing streak as well. So the Bucks have to split with the Magic, in my opinion, to hold on to that spot. If the Magic could end up in 2nd.
I could totally see the Magic doing it.
I can see him in 2nd place.
For sure.
I realistically still think they hold on to 3rd, and if they for some reason tie with the Knicks, they hold the tiebreaker anyway, so it doesn't matter. To me, Magic 3rd. I'm with you on this. Knicks 4th. So then we move into 5th place between the Cavs and the Pacers.
And I got the Pacers moving in front of the Cavs for that 5th seed.
I can agree with that because, again, the Cavs are not playing well right now.
Nope.
They've lost
even
3
with
in a row.
Donovan Mitchell coming back, they have not played well. They just blew a 26-point lead to the Clippers.
Yeah.
So they're not in a good mood. And they are really faltering at the worst time, similar to the Bucks.
Yep.
They were hot a few months ago, and they're really cold right now.
Yeah, Cavs and the Bucks are in not so good of places right now. So,
I think the Cavs and Pacers play each other soon, or they already have, and I think the Pacers are going to pass them in the standings. I think they're going to win that game and move on.
Cavs and Pacers? Yeah, so the Cavs and Pacers, they play on Friday.
Big game right there.
In Cleveland.
And I think the Pacers are gonna win that and leapfrog them for the 5th spot in the standings.
All right, I like that. I'm a fan of that. Let's go to, we have the 76ers right now in 7th, and the Heat are in 8th.
I think the So that's not really locked in. So what are their records individual?
So we have 76ers at 44-35. The Heat are 43-35. So they're a half game apart right now. It's possible.
The Joel Embiid just came back for the Sixers, and I think this is go time for them. They weren't good without Joel Embiid, and he's back, and they've won a few in a row, I believe. And I think the 76ers, they're going to get that. They could even move up to the 6th spot, to be honest with you, but I got them staying in a play-in spot at number 7.
I like that. Okay, I'm fine with that. So our Heat staying at 8.
I think what the standings are now is what they're going to stay.
If the 76ers stay in 7th, then the Heat for sure stay in 8 because there's too big of a gap between the Heat and the Bulls.
Yep.
And the Bulls and the Hawks could technically flip-flop, but why not just keep them the same?
Who cares?
They're 9 and 10.
Yeah.
I don't really care.
Yeah.
Okay, so really you're saying Cavs Pacers flip-flop and that's it.
Yeah.
That's really the biggest change in the East.
The biggest change in the East.
I'm a fan of that. I'm okay with that. I think that that's very possible. When you're looking at the Magic, Knicks, Cavs, you have a 46 win stretch between all three of them. Whether it's 46-32 or 46-33, it doesn't matter. But right now, that's where it stands. That area is interesting. And then you have the Pacers at 45. If the Pacers play well enough, and I'm curious about this, if the Pacers and Knicks, who has the tiebreaker?
I believe the Knicks have the tiebreaker because I don't know. Let's see.
I'm gonna Google it right now and see who has it. The Pacers own the tiebreaker.
Oh, wow.
So if
Okay.
the Pacers own the tiebreaker, could they move up into 4th?
Yeah, obviously
Home
they definitely
court
could.
advantage.
That would be huge for Indiana. That would be huge. And I personally would love to see that. I'm not the biggest Knicks fan. They can sometimes be a little annoying, but
It's those big markets.
yeah, the big markets for sure, Boston. But yeah, I would love if the Pacers could move up a little bit.
Sure. Okay, I like that. So that would mean we see a play-in tournament of the
9, 10, 7, 8.
Yep, so we'd see the Bulls, Hawks.
Oh, boy.
And the 76ers, Heat. I would say the Sixers come out of the 76ers and Heat. Mm-hmm. And then I would say...
And then I got the Bulls moving on.
Yeah, I could see the Bulls.
Clinching a playoff spot.
I could see the Bulls. So then Bulls, 76ers would make it into a playoff spot, correct?
Mm-hmm. That would be the East playoffs. And
Interesting.
I got the Bulls. The Bulls are a weird team.
Well, the Bulls would have to then beat the Heat.
Oh, yeah,
If
that's
the Heat
true.
if the Heat lost, then the Heat would go and play the loser of the Heat Bulls
Of the winner
of the Bulls Hawks series.
Yeah,
So who would win out of the Heat and the Bulls?
the Heat.
Okay,
I think
so
the
then
Heat's-
then
the Heat would move on. Yeah.
So the Heat would still stay in. Okay, so you have basically you're just
Sorry,
taking
Bulls
out 9
fans.
and 10.
Yeah.
9 and 10 are gone. Your top 8 are who you think would still end up in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair.
That might be the safe route. I just don't see the Bulls beating
Understandable.
the Heat. Jimmy Butler really comes alive when it's playoff time.
Understandable. So potentially, maybe bump the Knicks down to 5, Pacers up to 4, Cavs down to 6.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd
Magic
see
stay at 3, Bucks stay at 2, Celtics
correct.
at 1.
So you'd say, here's your 1 through 8: Celtics, Bucks, Magic, Pacers, Knicks, Cavs, 76ers, Heat. Those would be your top 8 teams in the actual playoffs.
Yep.
Okay, so you'd see a series of Heat, Celtics.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah, that'd be fun. The Bucks and the 76ers. That one would be fun as
That's
well.
a fun. 2 of the best bigs in the league.
Oh, and I think 76ers could win that with the
I
way
think
that
they
the
could.
Bucks
With
are
the way the
playing.
Bucks have been playing and the 76ers have been playing, I mean, it's polar opposites.
Yeah. You could go Magic and Cavs. And
That's a
then
pretty good one. I think the Magic would win that, and that's a big win for the Magic.
and then Knicks Pacers. Which
And that's a fun series right
no
there.
matter what, if the Knicks, in my opinion, with where we think this could be going, with the way that these teams are playing, the Pacers Knicks series feels inevitable, but it's who has the home court advantage. At least in game 1. Obviously, you can win
so
it
you're
back,
saying
but-
who has home court advantage would win the series?
No.
Or-
I'm just saying in general, like based off of the last few games here of the season, one of those two teams could end up with home court advantage, right? But who's it going to be? I think the Pacers have a good chance just because they have the tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker, yeah.
But the Knicks are already up ahead, so if they can keep on winning, they'll be fine. They're sitting at 5-5. They're okay.
Man.
The Pacers are a little hotter right now.
Yeah.
They're already on a 2-game win streak. So
Those two teams have 2 of the best point guards in the league. Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton. Those
Yeah.
are 2 fun teams to watch. I would love to see a series between those guys.
yeah, that would be a fun series. That 4-5 series is always amazing. So
Yeah.
That's how your East is playing out. Let's take a look at the West.
Okay.
So you have
This is my conference. This one's got my favorite
we
team.
live in the West, so
Yep.
so of course it is. The top 3 teams are very interesting to
The
me.
top 3. I think this is what puts the West over the East.
Yes,
in terms of
I don't know
excitement.
who's going to be number 1.
Yeah.
I still don't know. It could be any of the 3: Timberwolves, Nuggets, Thunder. That's how it's set up at the moment.
I believe all 3 of those have clinched top 3 spots.
Correct.
Yeah.
They've all clinched their playoff positions, or not their specific.
They can't be
positions,
lower than
but
3.
they cannot be lower than 3.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, right now Nuggets and Timberwolves are tied with 54 and 24.
Yep.
And Thunder are a game behind at 53 and 25. I think that full game behind is so tough to come back
It
from
is.
with the few games that they have left.
It very much is. And the Timberwolves, they got the Wizards tonight.
Winnable game.
Yeah, very, very winnable. Nuggets got the Jazz tonight up in Salt Lake
I'm
City.
sorry, but winnable.
Winnable, unfortunately. And then the Nuggets and Timberwolves play in Denver tomorrow. Big, huge game in terms of the number 1 seed right there. And I think it's pretty equal for both sides. I got the Timberwolves. As a biased Timberwolves fan, I got them coming out on top. And as an unbiased Timberwolves fan, I still got them coming out on top.
I do.
A healthy Wolves team can beat the Nuggets.
Yes, I'm on the Timberwolves bandwagon at the moment. I feel like they are the better team. And I'm not saying that just to appease you as a Timberwolves fan, but I do think that the Timberwolves right now are the better team slightly. Now, in a playoff series, the Nuggets can be dangerous.
The Nuggets, for sure.
But that would maybe just be a Western Conference Finals at this point. So I would say
I think the top 3 is set.
Exactly.
The way it is.
Yes. Timberwolves, Nuggets, Thunder, in my opinion, that's how it's set. The Clippers at 4 is pretty set. They are 2 games ahead of the Mavericks. That's realistically not going to move them anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Mavericks would have some work to do.
Yeah, and they're 3 games behind the Thunder. So
Yeah.
that's really tough. Yeah, you got a little bit of separation there. So I think the Mavericks, where they're at, is pretty set. They're 2 games away in either direction of the 4 seed and the 6 seed. So in my opinion, top 5, they're not moving anywhere. Suns and Pelicans is interesting. They both have a 46 and 32 record. Suns own that tiebreaker.
Pelicans just had a big
But
not
the Pelicans just barely beat them.
Yeah. Okay. And the
So-
Pelicans got a big injury to Brandon Ingram. That was a big loss for them. I don't think he's out for the rest of the season. I think he's going to come back for the playoffs, but that is a big loss for them.
Yeah.
Especially since now they're in a play-in spot.
Yeah. Now, they do have a tougher schedule.
Bells?
Tough-ish. Talk about the Pels. So, Pelicans, they have Trailblazers, should be winnable. Then they go to Kings, Warriors, and Lakers.
All 3 of those teams, oh my gosh, what a series of
Yeah.
games right there. All 3 of those teams are fighting for play-in spots.
Yeah,
all
well,
4 of them, including
And that's
the
what I'm
Pelicans.
saying. All 4, you're looking at 7, 8, 9, 10. That's your teams right there. Those are your playing tournament
they're all
teams at the
good.
moment. And they're all good enough,
It's not
right?
like the Bulls and Hawks.
Yeah.
These are all very good teams.
The Pelicans, well, the Suns even at 46 and 32, much like the Pelicans are, same record. From 6 to 10, you're looking at a separation of 3 games. So that whole chunk, Suns, Pelicans, Kings, Lakers, Warriors, that whole thing can change up in so many different ways.
This is exciting stuff.
Yeah, so how's it going to end up? In my opinion, here's how I see it kind of playing out. I think the Suns are locked in where they're at. They just barely lost.
I agree.
But they're
got the
playing good at the
tiebreaker
right
as
time.
well. They got the tiebreaker.
They have the tiebreaker. They're playing well at the right time.
They
I
just
think that they
destroyed
stay
the
where they're at.
Timberwolves. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a 10-point game if you look at the score, but I was watching it and the game was not even close at
Yeah.
all. So they're playing. They're getting, no pun intended, they're getting hot at the right time.
Ha!
Thank you.
Yeah. The Pelicans are not hot right now. I'll tell you that. They're actually of the teams that we're talking about, of the 5 teams we're talking about, they're playing the worst basketball right now. Even though they did just beat the Suns. They did just beat the Suns. I'll give them credit for that. They have to play the Kings, Lakers, and Warriors. They could go 1-2 in that stretch.
Very much so. Very much so.
They should be able to beat the Trailblazers, but I think they go 2-2 in the next 4 games.
Who do you have beating them between those 3? Because you got the Trailblazers. You got them beating the Trailblazers.
I have them beating the Kings, and I have them losing to the Lakers and Warriors.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
If that was the case, the Kings could fall down to that 9th spot, and the Lakers could move up.
I think the Lakers are going to move up. LeBron, AD, D'Angelo Russell is hasn't been playing the best lately, but as long as you got LeBron and AD, I think the Lakers are going to move up to the 8th spot and kick the Kings down to the 9th spot.
Well, the Lakers
And they could move up to the 7th
own
spot.
the tiebreaker over the Pelicans.
Yep.
So the Lakers, in my opinion, are going to be the 7th team.
Okay.
So I think it's
I
going to go
agree with that.
Suns.
I'm going to flip these on
I
my
think
paper.
I think it's going to go Suns, Lakers, Pelicans, Kings, Warriors. I think the Warriors are in too big of a hole right now.
Yeah.
They're-
I think the Warriors are going to stay this 10th seed.
Yeah, they're
But-
a game and a half behind the 9th seed at the moment, and again, that's 2 games away from the Kings. I just think they're a little too far behind everybody. They'll win a chunk of their games here. I think they'll win a majority of the games throughout the remainder of the season.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's still not enough to pull them out of that hole. So
So the Lakers move up to the 7th, dropping the Pels to the 8th. You think?
Pelicans would move to the 8th, correct?
Kings at 9, Warriors at 10.
Yes.
And then that gives us a play-in game of Pelicans at Lakers and Kings or Warriors at Kings. And who do you have coming out of those?
Well, let me see here.
It's crazy that 2 of these teams are going to miss the postseason. Because these teams
I
are
want to
good.
say that the Kings can win in a series, and I want to say that I would say Kings and Lakers are the 2 teams that are coming out
I
of
agree.
that into the 7th and 8th seeds for the playoffs. I'll just put it like that. How's that sound?
Okay, so the Pelicans would have to play the winner of Kings Warriors, correct?
If they lost, they would play the winner of yes, that
Of
sounds
Kings
right.
Warriors.
Yep.
Okay, so I got the Lakers moving on to be the 7th seed, and then I got the Pelicans beating the winner of Kings Warriors, and they are going to be the 8th seed.
Okay, and that could happen. That could happen. I think it just depends. I think it depends. I think it's the Kings personally. I think it's Kings Lakers. You think it's Lakers Warriors?
It could go,
but it could go
either way.
Or Pelicans. I guess
Yeah,
you said
Lakers
right?
Pelicans.
Lakers Pelicans. It could go anyway. I think the Pelicans are in a dangerous spot right now. Honestly,
They are. They definitely are.
So there's a lot that could happen, and
It's
that's what's
exciting.
fun. This is all just speculation, obviously.
And then
so.
that would spell disaster for the Lakers in the actual playoffs because they'd be the 7th seed. And
Going against the Nuggets.
On my paper, they would have to face the Nuggets, who have more than had their number in recent years.
Yeah, they destroy them.
Yeah. And not just destroy, but it's always a close game. Like the Lakers get close, and then the Nuggets just pull away to end it.
Yeah, the Nuggets are just good at closing out games.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
So I think the Nuggets being that team that can close out those games is very possible and very amazing. I think they can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as far as home court advantage, the way it's all set up right now, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Thunder, Clippers, they're all sitting with home court advantage pretty easily.
Yeah.
Unless the Clippers lose out and the Mavericks win, that's the only thing that could ever change that. That's the only thing that could change out who's on top.
These potential playoff matchups are looking pretty fun. Wolves, Pelicans, Nuggets, Lakers, who knows? But the Lakers usually keep it close, even if the Nuggets do sweep. Thunder, Suns, and Clippers, Mavericks, all of those, that's a fun first
The
round
Thunder
for the West.
Suns to me is actually the one that's most intriguing.
For me, it's because for me, as a Wolves fan, it's Wolves, Pelicans. But
Right.
for me, as an analyst, it's Clippers, Mavericks. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun.
And of course, those 4 or 5 matchups are always pretty insane.
Yeah.
They're pretty fun.
Because those are always the 2 closest teams.
Yeah. So I would say that one to me is, of course, going to be fun. You have Clippers are an older team, right?
With a ton of playoff
Kawhi,
experience.
Paul George, Westbrook. Like, there's a lot of playoff experience there. The Mavericks, obviously, with Luka and Kyrie.
They got playoff experience as well.
You're
Luka
looking
and
at
Kyrie.
You're looking at some pretty good playoff experience there.
Especially
Clippers,
Kyrie.
Mavericks has the names. I will say that. The Thunder and the Suns, the Thunder being as young as they are,
I could see them losing
building
to the
names,
Suns.
right? They're building the names, but with SGA on that roster and being a top 5 player this season, maybe even a top 3, top 2, put him wherever you want to. He's up there.
Yeah.
He alone makes the series really fun.
Yeah, for sure. Him facing off against former Thunder, Kevin Durant, that right there
And
is
that's
a
always
storyline.
good.
That's always good.
The Kevin Durant
He's going to get
in
booed out of the
OKC.
building in Oklahoma.
Yeah, Kevin Durant in OKC is always a good time.
Yep.
And then, there's so many other guys on that Suns roster that make them dangerous.
Devin Booker. Obviously, about him.
Obviously, Devin Booker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Devin Booker being in that lineup, he's always tough. But we get a preview today of Suns and Clippers. A little bit of a potential, maybe a playoff matchup at some point down the road.
Westbrook versus Kevin Durant.
But you get a little Westbrook Durant. That's always fun. And I think it's going to be pretty great.
It's going to be an exciting way to end the season.
Yeah, Bradley Beal is in that lineup, and he's always fun. So great names on there. I'm excited. Let's just get to the playoffs, man.
Yeah, let's wrap up this season. Let's get the seedings, and let's start the postseason.
Yeah, and hopefully the Jazz continue to lose games. We're at 12 in a row right now. Just keep losing so we can get better draft picks.
That's the mission for the Jazz.
That's right. Thanks for listening, everybody, to From the Bleachers, the podcast. Subscribe wherever it is that you find your podcast. And make sure to keep on listening to From the Bleachers from 4 to 6 p.m. on the Fan Sports Network, 99.5 FM, 95.3 FM in St. George, Utah. We'll see you next time.